It was a cold Friday evening in early spring, and the auditorium of Westview High School buzzed with energy. The annual talent show had become something of a town tradition, attracting parents, teachers, and a swarm of students eager to show off or cheer on their friends. The gym-turned stage was lit by bright spotlights, and the seats were packed from front row to the last bleacher. Posters of performers decorated the hallway leading in, and excited chatter filled the air as acts came and went, singers, dancers, comedy routines, even a drum solo from the football team's linebacker. But backstage, tucked in a corner, sat a girl almost no one noticed. Lily Adams clutched an old guitar to her chest, her fingers nervously tapping the worn edge of the body. Her jeans were faded, her sneakers scuffed, and her flannel shirt had holes at the cuffs. She didn't look like a performer. In fact, most of the students didn't even know she'd signed up. They only recognized her from passing in the halls or from seeing her after school, mopping the gym floor with her father. Her dad, James Adams, had worked as the school janitor for nearly 15 years. A quiet man with a limp and thick hands that told stories of long days and honest labor. He never asked for attention. He just showed up, cleaned up after everyone, and went home. Lily had been with him ever since her mom passed away. After classes, while other kids went to cheer practice or hung out at the mall, Lily would sit on the stage steps with her guitar while her dad swept popcorn from the bleachers. She never spoke much, and no one ever asked her to. Until today. Someone backstage called out, "Next up, Lily Adams." There was a pause, then a few chuckles. "Wait, the janitor's daughter," someone whispered. "She signed up?" another snorted. As Lily walked toward the curtain, she could hear the murmurs already spreading through the audience like wildfire. Her hands trembled slightly, but she gripped the guitar tighter. The same one her mom gave her before she died. The same one she played every night in secret, sometimes under the bleachers, sometimes in the empty music room when no one was around. Tonight would be the first time anyone else heard it. A spotlight hit center stage. She stepped into it. From the seats, there were a few laughs, mocking, unsure, surprised. She was clearly out of place, no glitter, no makeup, just a quiet girl in worn clothes with an old guitar. Even the host who introduced her hesitated before stepping aside. Lily sat on the single wooden stool at center stage. She adjusted the microphone slowly, and for a brief second she thought about walking off. But then she looked down and saw the initials carved into the side of her guitar, J.A. Her father's initials. Her anchor. She cleared her throat. "My name is Lily," she said softly into the mic, "and this is something I wrote for someone who never stopped believing in me." She didn't wait for a reaction. She just began to play. The first chord was soft, shaky. Her fingers trembled slightly as they moved over the strings. The auditorium was still. It was a simple melody at first, but there was something haunting in its rhythm, something personal. Then her voice joined in, low, smoky, vulnerable. The song told a story, not just with words, but with pain and hope braided into every note. She sang about working late with her father, about being invisible, about being judged by the world before it ever heard her voice, but also about love, the kind of love that never demands anything in return, the kind that keeps a person alive when nothing else does. No one was laughing anymore. Halfway through the song, even the teachers looked stunned. The judges weren't writing, they were just listening. And in the back of the room, James Adams stood in his janitor uniform, his mop forgotten, watching his daughter with eyes full of tears. As the last note faded, the auditorium was completely silent. Then came the sound of a single clap, and then another, until the entire room stood in applause. Lily stepped off the stage slowly, her heart still thudding in her chest. The applause still echoed through the auditorium, but she didn't smile or wave like the performers before her. She just walked, guitar in hand, head down, straight toward the side curtain. As soon as she stepped into the shadows backstage, she exhaled a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Her hands were shaking, not from fear, but from the emotion she had poured into that song. One of the teachers backstage touched her arm. That was unbelievable. She nodded quietly, not sure how to respond. All she wanted was to find her dad. As she moved through the crowd of performers and stage crew, people began to part for her. The same students who had smirked at her name just moments before were now staring at her as if she'd stepped out of another world. A few gave her shy nods, some whispered to each other, and one girl even clapped her on the shoulder and said, "You were amazing." She wasn't used to being seen, not like this. Back in the hallway near the staff entrance, she found him. Her dad, still in his janitor uniform, still holding the mop, standing near the exit where he always waited for her after school. But his face was different tonight. His usual tired look had been replaced with something glowing, pride that beamed from him like light. "You stayed," she said softly. "I never left," he replied, stepping forward. His voice cracked. "You sang from your heart, Lily. I've never seen anything like that. Not on TV, not on this earth." She tried to laugh, but her voice caught. "I didn't think they'd clap. I thought they'd laugh again." "They laughed because they didn't know what they were about to hear," he said, brushing a tear from her cheek. "But they won't forget it now." Word spread fast. By Monday, the video of her performance had gone viral on the school's social media page. A sophomore had captured the full set with surprisingly good audio. The post was titled, "When the Janitor's Daughter Silenced an Entire Room." By the time Lily arrived at school that morning, it had been viewed over 60,000 times. Comments flooded in from alumni, parents, and strangers who didn't even know her. "She's got the voice of a pro." That song felt real. "Talent like this comes once in a lifetime." Teachers congratulated her between classes. Students smiled at her in the halls. A few even asked if she'd perform again at prom. The music teacher pulled her aside and offered her a chance to join a special music mentorship program at the nearby university, tuition-free. It was overwhelming, but somehow Lily remained grounded. She still ate lunch on the same bench in the courtyard, still wore her old flannel, still helped her dad clean up after basketball games. But everything had changed. That Friday, the principal made an announcement over the intercom. "We want to recognize a student whose courage and talent reminded us what these halls are truly about. Lily Adams, thank you for reminding us that greatness can come from anywhere." The applause that followed rang out from every classroom. Weeks later, at the spring concert, Lily took the stage again. But this time, she wasn't the unknown girl from nowhere. She was the headliner. The room filled with parents, teachers, students, and even a few news reporters who had caught wind of her story. She looked out into the audience and saw her dad sitting in the front row, wearing a clean button-up shirt and the same proud expression from that night. As she tuned her guitar, she spoke into the mic. "The last time I played here, I thought no one would listen. Tonight I play because someone always did. This song is for him." And she played. The room didn't erupt with applause this time. It sat still, breath held, hearts open, because now they didn't just hear her voice. They listened to her story.